All right. All right, all right. See if I can hear myself. Because it would suck if I couldn't. Hear myself. Because it would suck if I couldn't. No, I can't hear myself. So that's good. Alright, cool. Stream's working. Woo! Alright, let's post this. Click stop. And then we will rock and roll. Do. Awful the teams are. Tonight doing some Avengers Switchout team building, so feel free to stop by my live stream and tell me how awful the teams are. All right. Sounds good. I'm ready. I am ready. Got my ADW here, ready to do some team building. And I hope you are ready to do some team building too. So, the point of these live streams is kind of to see my thought process of what I go through when I'm building teams. But I also like any sort of feedback. So, if you're watching this later on my YouTube, then you can't really give feedback there, but you can give comments and whatnot, and that'd be appreciated, and I'll read them, and I'll go back and forth, and we can talk about it there. Otherwise, though, yeah, you're just gonna kind of see the flow that is my brain as I'm going through team building. Now, I've done some precursor work on this. I'm looking strictly at Avengers Switchout teams, right? We had Fantastic Four, we've had X-Men, Shi'ar, Illuminati, and then Brotherhood, Hellfire Club, and what is the other one? Brotherhood? Did I say that? Brotherhood, Hellfire Club, and whatever the other one is. This is going to be bug me if I don't know what it is. What is it? Acolytes. Yeah, the one no one builds. If anybody can do an Acolytes theme team and be successful, I'd be very impressed. Not to say Acolytes is pretty bad. Now I want to look just to see. Like the only ones we've gotten recently is like Venom, Magneto. Exodus. Okay, maybe you could pull it off. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could be done. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight we are talking about Avengers. We are doing Avengers Switchout. The reason is because I think there are a lot of good Avenger pieces. And to be honest, I sit here and think about it pretty much all day. And hold on just a second. All right. Anyway, Avengers, Avengers when Captain America came out, Captain America and Avengers set, I feel like Avengers, between that and the Black Widow set, was at its peak as of recently. We had a lot of good pieces, and the way I go through my thought process is I think of where I want my ending team to be with switch out teams. What do I consider a good team, especially in this meta? And so that's what we're going to start with. I like to go set by set and basically put in rounds all the good Avenger pieces that I could think of, and then we'll see if there's any other pieces that could supplement what Avengers is missing. So let's go to ABPI. And I'm not going to go through every single one. Now, I have thought a decent amount about this, so I might plug in some pieces that you're like, why are you doing that? And I know that they'll be there for filler. So, for example, like the AIM Squad, they're outside of, I think, Happy Hogan, they're the lowest point Avengers that you could get, which is kind of big. So, absolutely, AIM Squad's going to go on there. And I could obviously just go Modern Age and Avengers. That would be the smart thing to do. All right. And then let's get to the bottom. I start older on the way back up. Let's see. Crystal. And that's the thing. It's crazy to think of how powerful ABPI was back in the day. Like, pretty strong pieces, right? Even with the Invincible. And, having Invincible back, all of that stuff. It was a very, very strong piece. At least I feel like it was a strong piece. And then, or a strong set, I mean. And then it just, power creep, man. Power creep just kind of really bit it pretty hard. Because, like, Voyager nowadays, Voyager for 50 points, that feels like a lot. Feels like a lot. Now, also, rules changes. Rules changes made a big difference with this, obviously. But I'll put Voyager on there because she is a valid taxi. 50-point taxi without Witch. She has her special TK where you can go through elevated and stuff like that because it's only the place character. She doesn't have to see the square. Neither does the target. So that's pretty big. You get through barrier with her. So she's pretty big. The catch-all, though, with her and with the other I Sense a Greater Challenge is that it's at the beginning of the game. So if they're not on your main force and you switch in those people, they won't get their little go to click 0. So 50 points for 4 clicks, prob, TK. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not amazing. But Avengers doesn't have a lot of great taxis, which we'll see. Black Panther, no. If this was top click instead of having to go down a click, then I would absolutely play Prime, King Solomon, Frog, Panther. But because you have to get him down a click, nah, he's cut. Medusa is one that I feel like isn't good anymore. Remember, she was on an alpha team a long time ago where you played like a couple of these with Agent Coulson. It would bring him up, and she'd pop out the little living hair. If they would get like 2 attacks or something like that, you would pop one out turn 1, carry everyone up, they'd attack, you would sidestep them away, and then free action create another one, and they would get to attack. It was popular with the boomerang foot soldiers when that was a thing. But I'm hesitant to put her on the list, so I'm not going to. AIM Blue Squad, no. See, like any of these guys. Now, I will put Namor on the list strictly because he gives you the ability to have the power gem or the time gem at 75 points, obviously, or 80. So what you could do is you could start the game with him, switch him out, kind of like people have been doing with Illuminati with him. So I'm going to put him on there, not to play, but as a switch out. Oh, excuse me. Definitely not Spider-Man. Unless this is the one that leap climbs and can do a close. When he uses leap climb after resolutions, he may be given a close at no cost. Is this the one people were using? This isn't the one people were tricking out, right? They were doing something with him to allow him to keep attacking. Flurry, giant reach. Maybe. But no, I'm not playing him. These Iron Man isn't good. Iron Man, Strange, Captain Britain, no. Kang, I thought about Kang. The problem is you have to main force Kang. So, no dice there. I've mentioned this multiple times. If they could just lift the limit on title characters, get title characters where they could be replaced, then absolutely would they be played a lot more. That's just my opinion. I just feel like title characters right now are kind of at a weird spot where they're good, but they're not great. Kang, Mother, even the new infamous Iron Man, they're at an okay spot where they're like, oh, that's some neat tricks, but they can get hard countered pretty hard. So I hope one day WizKids does kind of pull back on that a bit and does say, okay, we'll allow title characters to be replaced. That's all I'm really asking for. Besides that, on this list, man, the Chase, Iron Man, and Captain America, it's not worth it to spend the points just to get the gauntlet. Just not worth it. Black Panther, I thought about, but I mean, Hypersonic Precision Strike, 3, Battle Fury, that's not bad. I know Nate White used to play double Black Panthers when these came out and had some good success with them, but I'm just not feeling it, man. So really none of these are really main forceable outside of maybe a red squad just to fill points. So that's how far ABPI has fallen, is that they're just... It's just not nearly as good. I don't care about Regenesis, Wolverine, or Beast. Regenesis is just a kind of a dead set. I generally don't care about Fast Forces unless there's something out here that does something crazy. No Hawkeye. No Iron Man. Lower point Iron Man? No. Nah. I mean, Empower Enhancement Prob. But not for 50 points. Not for 50 points. Alright. Captain America and Avengers. Alright, this is where we're going to see... This is where we'll see some good pieces, is what I'm hoping. Shifting Focus Iron Man. Shifting Focus is going to be hard to do on an Avengers Switchout team, just in general. Just because for switch out you need sideline, shifting focus you need sideline. So how's that? Not enough sideline space. You're not getting any trouble alerts if you try to do that. There is an exception, which we'll get to in the next set. Sharon Carter, 35 points, Avengers. She's got leadership. If she's adjacent to Captain America or Steve, increase the result of the D6 roll for leadership. Perplex. She allows someone with shield keyword that can use outwit until your next turn. 35 points though. Maybe as a 35 point holder. I mean, a 35 point perplex isn't bad. Quake. There's better Quakers than Quakers. There's better Quake people than her, I think. She's not bad though. She's the one that choose an unoccupied square in range, and she may use Quake as if she occupied that square. No. Happy Hogan is absolutely going on the list. Happy Hogan is probably going to end up being the taxi, like 2 of them. He's the lowest points next to AM Red Squad, and he's the taxi one. So that's pretty big. Winter Soldier, no. Singularity, definitely no. No Captain America. Like, you can skip a bunch of these. Like, Pepper Potts, I'd probably play Pepper over Sharon Carter, just because the perplex. The leadership thing for Sharon and the outwit probably won't really come into play that much. Unless I just don't have any leadership on the team, which would be pretty obscene. Victor Mancha. So let's talk about Victor for a second. Um, I tried Victor on a Ultron Pym team Switchout. So I have tried him strictly for the friendly characters can use Mastermind, but only to choose Victor Mancha. So he's basically kind of like the new Ellie Lockjaw, except a little bit more expensive. But he gives enhancement, and he will have invulnerability because everyone will have Avengers. So I'm going to put him on the list because he could make it depending on the matchup. Probably not, but maybe. Sorry, my son came in. So yeah, he had some success, or I had some success with Victor Mancha, surprisingly. So he's on the list. He's on the list of a maybe. Remember, these are all where is it? These are all maybes. People I might be interested on. I'm building with. Because I am a very visual person. So I like seeing, here's all my puzzle pieces. And I don't look at the final puzzle and say, how do I build that? I should, because that is how you do it. But I like having all my pieces spread out and then having the final puzzle, if that makes sense. Black Panther, no. Now, Steve. Steve is one of those exceptions where I'm going to put him on the list, obviously, because he just, I think, adds the extra oomph that Avengers needs, but we'll really have to see. I'm going to table him for now, strictly because I want to see what Avengers could do without him, but he can fill in some blanks, but it's a lot trickier. I'll explain in a minute. Besides that, Captain Marvel, War Machine, too expensive for what he has. I'm going to put Captain Marvel on here. I'm not sure how I really feel about Captain Marvel, to be perfectly honest. Not 100% sure how I feel. She's still pretty good. If you could get her maybe Carnage Symbiote or Power Gem or something to kind of give a little bit more oomph, then maybe. Immortal Hulk's a tricky one. Immortal Hulk is a tricky one. I don't know if Immortal Hulk is still good. Does anybody know? Does anybody know if Immortal Hulk is still good? He's got the activation click now. So he has the errata. If Immortal Hulk is on click 1, you give him an action token after resolutions dealing 1 unavoidable. So you can get him to click 2. So there's no more incandescence ring, whatever ring it was to knock him back, to try to deal him 1 damage. That's not a thing anymore. You can just do it after you give him an action token. So you can equip him with something. Waldo Arms is probably the best bet right now, or the all black sword. But when a friendly character within line of fire is damage, he's not bad, but I feel like people could just turn him too quickly. And he's 100 points. Am I wrong? Anybody watching? How do you feel about Immortal Hulk? I'm really on the fence. I'm going to put him on the list. I'm really, really on the fence about if Immortal Hulk is still good. I love the piece. I played him when the set came out. I really love the piece. I just don't know if he's good enough to be on an Avengers Switchout. Because let's think about it. What teams is he going to have the advantage on? Like, what teams are you bopping with him? Because I think there's just too many actions out there. If they can get him off his stop click, like, I guess he's good against Gladiator, sorta, because Gladiator may not have enough attacks. I'm just concerned that people can turn him and just you get him to click 2 and they just get him back to click 1 and you have to waste another action. But at that point, hopefully you would have had some vengeance tokens so you could charge. But that's a little tricky. Once again, I'm putting him on the list. He's on the list, but I'm just not sure if he's actually going to make it. Thor, no. Blade. So I've been hyped about Blade. Because I think Blade on Switchout is the best version of Blade we'll ever have. He's amazing. But he's just not good. He's not good when he's not going against Mysticore or Monster. Hey, Hypertime Hero. What's up? Just doing some Avenger team building. So, like, I want to build with Blade, but the version of the Avengers I'm thinking of may not have room for him. And if I remember correctly from the World event, I'm not sure how many actual mystical and monster teams there are. There were some monster teams, but maybe not enough to warrant Blade, if that makes sense. At least that's how I feel about it. Songbird is going to fall into that category of yes. Strictly for the 30-point value, barriers free. She's kind of your blocking destroyer. So I dig Songbird. 30 points is, there's not a lot of low point Avengers. So she's going on the list strictly because she's not terrible. She could be a decent taxi, carry one person. But that free barrier to get through things is pretty big. Pretty big. Namor, no. Namor's garbage. Thor, I've debated 50-point Thor, but he is still kind of easy to kill, which is so sad. This wasn't that long ago. 75-point is probably his better line. With what I'm thinking about, giving him Power Gem, 12 for 6. Starts the game with the lightning attached. When he hits with an attack not using energy explosion, you may place a lightning marker in the area. If you do, after resolutions, make a range attack using energy explosion at no cost targeting a character, regardless. I might put him on there. Do you guys like Chase Thor at all? See, no one plays him. He's okay. 75 points, I might be willing to play him. He's going into the probably not category. And you'll see, when we get into Roll20, I'm going to line these up into categories of, like, definitely one on my team, probably not. I mean, it's swapped, so just slap them on there. Well, so I'm trying to think of, the way I think of swap teams is, like, different packages for the different teams I'm going against. So I want a good long-range attacker. That's how I feel. Like, if there's a team where I want to be able to sit back, take pot shots at you occasionally, like, I think Thor fits that. 7 range, 5 movement running shot. That's not bad. Give him either a defensive item or something else. Problem is, if you hit him off that top click, he's not good. I'll put him on the list, but I'm not feeling great about him. Ghost Rider's another taxi, right? He's an expensive taxi. He can use Ram and modify speed +3. Now, Ram's not even an ability anymore, right? It's something that went away. But I mean, it's still a thing. It's just not a thing that's. Let's see. Let me look up Ram again. Ram Heroclix rules. It's one of those retired things. So old Ram. Man, Ram is kind of one of those stepchildren of, like, stepchildren rules of Heroclix. So old Ram Give this character a move action to use improved movement characters and move along a direct path. After actions resolve, make a close combat attack targeting all opposing characters whose scores were moved through. Each hit character is dealt this character's printed damage value and then deal one unavoidable. There's no way that's good, right? Convince me that 70 points for a taxi like that is bad. It's bad, right? He just gets one shot. 6 damage pen side just kills him. And the hard part at Hyper Time is just lining up the RAM. Like, you would almost have to waste a TK to get him in line to use RAM. So, yeah, not sold on Ghost Rider. He is a taxi, but just not that good, I think, right now. Greetings. Hello, Lord Archaeos. Archaeos. Lord Archaeos. It'd be better if I could actually read. We are running through a general list of Avengers that could potentially make the team. This is my team building process. I go through, because Avengers I'm not really familiar with. I played Immortal Hulk, but I played him non-themed forever ago. And I just haven't played a lot of Avengers in a bit. It's been a hot minute. Doctor Strange, anybody else wish Doctor Strange had taxi, like some sort of taxi ability? He looks like he should. He has this weird portal thing, but that doesn't really... It's not a taxi ability, so he's not good. Peggy is absolutely making the team. Granted, I'm playing a Captain America, but she is going on the sideline. Now, if I have to give up sideline space for her, then she might get cut. But we'll see. So that was Captain America. So let's talk about the whole reason why I'm even building an Avenger team. Besides for you guys, I'm actually building an Avenger team because... of our boy, and here I'll cut over to our Roll20 room. Let's talk about the big threat, right? And these are some of the pieces, and I'll pull some more in. We'll talk about them. But let's talk about the big threat in the room. So there's a big tournament coming up, the Coffee and Clicks online pod play tournament. I got to sign up for it still. I got a little bit of time, but I'm going to do it. Everyone, I feel like, is super duper hyped about Thanos. Which absolutely should be hyped about Thanos. Thanos is awesome. He's what we want. This is the first super playable meta legacy card. Absolutely. And he's going to also expound on the problem of legacy figures are really hard to get. But he's a big threat. And the reason he's a big threat, if you guys haven't seen him, let me go back to my HC rounds real quick. So Thanos, he's in the storyline. Come on, where is he? Thanos. So he's got his old dial. He's great. Good numbers. You're like, well, he's got a naked dial. Well, he's got this behold ultimate power in the universe. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 and choose a number of the affinity gems equal to half the result. So you're always picking at least one, probably at least two. You got power, which is close combat expert, range combat expert, time, probability, super sense, reality, which is barrier and smoke cloud, and you can use both as free, but only to generate one marker. Soul, which is steal energy, be close in range, and regen is free. Okay, so just free regen. This is the big one. This is the biggie. This is what makes him ridiculous. Is the mind gem. Like, no matter what you do, you're picking the mind gem like every single time, right? Improved targeting. So straight off, you choose mind gem, you just get improved targeting, hindering, elevated, blocking characters, and adjacent. So you don't even have to use the next part. You just immediately get that. And then you get mind control is free. So he is and then space gem, phasing teleport. Phasing teleport is free, but only to move up to 6 squares. He is absolutely everything you would want in a tent pole. 100%. He can go every single turn. He can regen for free. So you get knocked down and you're like, uh-oh, I'm double token. They've got me in a bind here. I roll 2. I roll 2 gems. All right, well, I could choose phasing to move for free, and then I could just regen for free. Like, that's ridiculous. Play on Ancient Hold, slap on Alchemical Fire, just win. Yeah, it's nuts. Played them on Rulers, on the Realm of Death map. Disgusting piece, yes. And we were kind of holding out hope for a little bit that the improved blocking, because they changed up all the symbols. So if you look at this card, he's got like a new blocking symbol. That's not defined anywhere. We were kind of hoping it was destroy blocking, but it's not. It's improved blocking. He just sees through everything. And then on top of that, he's got Cosmic Energy. And he can reduce penetrating. Which makes sense. That part I'm fine. The mind control, I think, is a little crazy. The mind gem portion of it. So he's hot. And, just the 2 people, just both of you just said that you've played him or are playing him. And to me, that's like, okay, well, that's like everyone is playing him. So I don't expect everyone in this tournament to be playing Thanos, but I expect a high, like he's only 175 points. You could fill in 125 with good pieces to back him up. So I expect to see at least in this tournament 20%, 30, sorry, I keep looking over here, 20 to 30% of the field probably playing Thanos, because this is a fun event. This isn't super high meta, even though he could be high meta. I think he definitely is, but he is definitely someone I'm prepared for or need to prepare for. So the threat is, I'm not super threatened by his just normal attacks. I'm threatened by just the constant mind control, because you're going to want to play some beefcakes to take him down, but the risk of playing beefcakes is that they could be mind controlled and just destroy your own team. So the obvious play for everybody is, all right, I'm just going to play Emotional Modifier. Emotional Modifier now jumps Waldo Arms, Carnage Symbiote. If it wasn't already the number 1 item to play, it is now absolutely the de facto, I'm building a team, I need to play Emotional Modifier. Absolutely. Emo Modi is going on every team, because it gives your team Battle Fury, which doesn't absolutely prevent Thanos, because Thanos could still shoot through everything and just pop you, like with Alchemical Fire, like Lord Archaeos said. But it mitigates that mind control a little bit, but your positioning has to be really, really concise. So it's not... Emotional Modifier can't be something you just slap onto every team and be like, yeah, I'm good, because it requires line of fire. So keep that in mind. But I said all this because I sat here and thought, what pieces counter Thanos? Alchemical Fire or Power Gem is the best item for him, because if you can't mind control, you still hit like a truck. Yeah, and Alchemical and Power Gem also still helps him with mind control. I mean, the 14 is better than 13. But yes, absolutely. I do prefer Alchemical Fire just to get him to penetrating. I like the penetrating damage one. Exospecs is also good on him. He has a lot of options, because you don't need to really pick defensively with that free regen there. Scarab puts you in a decent amount of work to counter Imamati too. That's true. Scarab is another threat. So that's why Exo are not great for him, but I get it. Exo actually is good for him, because you can free mind control first and then choose running shot or hypersonic or stealth. So you could go put him in hindering and stealth him. That it does, and you could choose just an attack power, right? Pensai, Precision Strike, Pulse Wave if you're desperate. So it's good on him. Like, There's no reason he couldn't use it. You just have to be careful about picking your speed powers. Like, you'd want to make sure you don't say, okay, I'm choosing hypersonic, and then realize you chose the space gem. And then now you can't use your free phasing because you can't use those powers anymore. So you just got to be very careful with it. So all this to say is because I was looking for counters for Thanos. I think he is a big enough threat, and this is what I do with team builds, is I always say, okay, what are the big threats that I need to look out for? And Thanos is obviously my number one, because I think Thanos is just going to see a ton of play. Just period. I think people are going to slowly stop playing Latveria. We're getting to the, as I call it, the meta B, or beta meta, where pieces have been in the meta so long, they reach this point where people are kind of tired of them, and so they don't play them as much. So I think Latveria is getting to that point. We're getting to about a year with Latveria, and I think a lot of people are just going to switch to Thanos. And this is just me having studied the meta and all of this stuff for so long that this is what I feel is going to happen. So I was looking at pieces and saying, okay, what can counter Thanos? You know, you got your Emma Frost, your what's her name? Not Shade. Why am I saying Shade? Shard. I was close. Shard. You can play Shard on your X-Men teams, and that helps a little bit. Thanos can get within 5 of you, and then just pew, Shard away, and then phase away. So it's not like Shard's a hard counter. She is like a soft counter, as is, I would say, Emma. Emma is kind of a soft counter as well, because she does the whole... where is she? Emma. She does the whole friendly characters can't be targeted by opposing characters that are more than 6 squares away from them. Same with if you were playing like Onslaught, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to play Onslaught for this behind-the-scenes thing. Onslaught can't be targeted by opposing characters 5 or more squares away. Like, Onslaught is kind of an okay counter, because he can also be mind-controlled. But if you give Thanos Alchemical Fire, and he comes up and just pews Onslaught down for 3, Onslaught doesn't have an answer. Bishop Prime with Emo Mahdi is big. I think Bishop Prime will see a lot of play, or will come back into the meta, because he kind of fell off for a little bit on, obviously, X-Men teams. He was already on some X-Men teams as a switch-in, but also maybe on non-themed teams. Or he fits on Latveria, I believe, right? I'm not crazy. He has Future, I believe. Yeah, he has Future. So some Latveria teams that maybe don't play Gladiator, Gladi-Daddy, could maybe go with Bishop as a counter. But you know who I'm switching to? This is some behind-the-scenes stuff right here. This is why I'm building an Avenger-themed team, because there is a 75-point person who just hard counters Thanos in general. Because Thanos' thing is the improved targeting, right? So that's why I am trying to build with 001 Black Widow. Shifty Widow. Yep. I'm right there with you, Hyperton. She is the whole reason I'm building an Avengers team. I wanted to anyway, but I kind of put it to the side. I was trying to build an Ultron Pym team, but now that I'm back on the Thanos is a problem, Shifty Widow, and you may have been talking about Chase Widow. We'll get to her. Shifty Widow, though, if Widow is on a theme team, which she'll be on Avengers, or Spy, we can talk about Spy a little bit too. Yeah, Chase Widow, we'll get to him too, her too. If she's on a theme team and your starting force is 2 other characters, opposing characters can't use improved targeting abilities to target her or adjacent friendly characters. So, just there. Boom. That doesn't completely stop him. Like, if you're just out in the open, he can run up and shoot you. But he no longer just gets through barrier, gets through everything to do whatever he wants. That Widow is fine, but not great with Thanos. It's great against Thanos, yes. Because he relies on that improved targeting. No, it's not great to take him out, but it's great to protect your team. That's what I'm looking for. What can protect my team? 75 is a little expensive. I get it. You could say emotional modifier is just 10 points. I get that too. This actually protects my team from his mind control, but also his regular power gemmed attack. It just protects, period. He just can't get through all this stuff. He has to actually finagle his way. And I think this will catch a decent amount of Thanos teams, unless I'm playing you guys because you guys are watching. But this will throw, I think, a decent amount of Thanos teams off because a lot of people are preparing themselves to use the improved targeting to get through things. So that's why I'm looking at Shifty Widow. Now, the problem with Widow on switch-out teams, like I mentioned before with some of the other Shifty Focus guys, is that her Shifty Focus takes up a slot. So if you play her as the switch-in, remember, you don't even get Shifty. Well, Hyper10, that's what we're here to try to solve. Fought Widow teams with him. They don't do as much as you might think. Yeah, that's what I'm here to solve. Because I have a few other tricks. How are you hitting Thanos? Good point. We're going to get there. I have some ideas for that. So, she's the protection. Now, remember, if you play her on the sideline, bring her in, she doesn't get to switch out with any Shifty Widows. It's just a rule. They have to be on your main force. They have to be on your sideline for that reason, and they can't be on the sideline for a sideline. So the only way you get to switch her is if she's main force. And even then, you don't want much. Like, you don't want to take up more slots. Because there are 5 Shifty Widows. 1, 5, 9, 13, and the free comic book day. I would say you could not play any of the other ones except 5. 5 gives you the prob, gives you TK, and then allows you to do the Empower enhancement. The Smoke Cloud one is okay. This one here, the Quake one, and give an action token, and then remove equipment, don't bother. You're very, very limited on sideline space, especially due to switch-out teams. So we're going to put Black Widow on here. We'll put the 5 one, and I'll put the 9 one just in case, because the Smoke Cloud is pretty big. Obviously, we're putting Chase Widow on there. Chase Widow is one of the top pieces. She's making a comeback. She can shut down Thanos just with her ability anyway. So just removing a tradecraft to... where is it? Remove a tradecraft to choose an opposing character with 6 squares in line of fire until your next turn. That character can't have standard powers until it's displayed on their dial. And can't have their combat values positively modified. So Thanos has no powers except for his defensive powers. So... she can just kind of wipe them away. The only downside is that she has 5 tradecraft tokens, and you're probably using 2 of those to activate her first ability, so she's down to 3. So she requires a lot more finesse after that errata that she got earlier this year or last year. Outside of that, the thing with Chase Widow is you can't get him to turn 1, then Thanos just hits her to stop right away. You mean after using... you can't get him turn 1, then Thanos just hits her to stop. Are you talking about like a 6... how is he getting up to that much damage? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'd have to do 6 damage. He has 3 printed, right? So even with Power Gem? Oh, Faust. I got you. I feel you. For the enhancement. I like that. Yeah, you got to be really careful with her. But that's why you have Widow, right? The Shifty Widow. That's 175 points. That's a lot of points to put in. But that's why we're team building now. See what other options there are. But like, Chase Widow is good against Thanos, but I don't know if there's enough with her to take him down. Like you're saying, Hyper Time. So that's why I'm like, she's going to make the team regardless. Because I think she's good enough for a lot of other matchups. Whether she's on the team for Thanos matchup, we'll have to see. All right, let's quickly go through the rest of these. Because we haven't even gotten to team building yet. We're going to talk about Fantastic Four in a hot minute. I still don't know if it's worth it, but something to keep in mind while we're going through this is that Invisible Woman, the one that makes the Fantastic Four, does have Avengers. So that does mean we are technically open to having Fantastic Four switch out too. And you can do double switch out. So you could do switch out all my Avengers, and then whatever Avengers I bring in that have Fantastic Four, I can then switch those out for Fantastic Four people. I just don't know if Fantastic Four has enough to warrant all this switching, and it's really mind-boggling. Yeah, if you're playing Chase Widow, you don't have the DPS to even think about killing Thanos. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're most likely right. We're looking for other pieces to do that, but I don't even know if you play Chase Widow. I think you try to find some other pieces. Like, I think maybe even Captain Marvel might have enough. Her pen doesn't do anything, but her and the Chewie might be able to get him down a little bit, but even that's not great. But we'll get to that. But Fantastic Four, just put it on the back burner. Just think about that while we're looking at other Avengers, because there is the potential for Invisible Woman to bring in a Franklin, a Franklin Von Doom, Franklin Richards, a Wolverine, if you wanted that. Like, Wolverine could be good. You wouldn't want to just bring in Wolverine, but you know, there's some Fantastic Four pieces that might bring something to the table, but table that for now. I unfortunately clicked this, so I have to go back. Let's look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man has some low point pieces that might be useful. I'm primarily looking at Peter Parker. And then Flash actually is pretty okay too. Besides that, Venom Strange. I like Dan's team with Franklin. Dan's team's good. Yeah, his Franklin team's really, really good. I won't talk about it on here just because I don't want to spoil it, because he might talk about it on the podcast more. But yeah, his team is very clever, is what I'll say. So yeah, Venom Doctor Strange, I think, makes the list. He's not amazing, but he's okay. Superior Spider-Man. I will say this. Superior Spider-Man, I think, is going to make the team purely because he is very much like Namor in the Illuminati trick. Because you could bring him in, he starts with Waldo Arms, and then you switch him out, and he drops Waldo Arms. And it's free. So I feel like, yeah, swap him for Arms. Yeah, I think Superior Spider-Man probably makes almost every Avengers team if you could fit him. Just because free Waldo Arms. Who doesn't want... I want Waldo Arms. Who doesn't want Waldo Arms? The problem is finding someone that could utilize it. We mentioned Immortal Hulk. I don't know if Immortal Hulk's the answer. But there may be someone else. Sunspot, no. Kid Omega, no. Binary, man. Binary's close, but no. That just makes me sad. Hypersonic and Pulse Wave always makes me sad. She-Hulk, no. Fantastic, no. Thing, I thought about Thing for a hot minute. Not gonna lie. Thought about it because he theoretically could take out Thanos. Just saying. You get him in there, and if he could keep making hits, he could technically... It's just, how do you get him over to Thanos? That's the problem. Yeah, he could kill anything. The problem is, can you get him over there? That's the big problem. So, I might put him on the list, but 140 is a lot. That's a lot to try to make up for. But he can do it. Oh, that's tricky. 11 for 5? And he could just sit there and just pound on him when an opposing character takes damage. After resolutions, choose one, deal that character one unavoidable, or make a close attack, and you could just keep making it. It's too much, I think. Yeah, 140 is pretty pricey. It is very much pricey. I'm going to click it just because I think he's cool. But he's like with Thor. He's kind of on the, probably not. No, all these other ones are bad. Rise and Fall, there wasn't really anything. I did think of Cake Pool for a hot minute. Like I said, I when I do team building, I throw my net out. Yeah, 25 points more. I throw my net out, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And I see what I catch and then say, okay, these are good, these are bad. Yeah, if Thing was a good counter to Gladiator, then I would consider it. But the problem is the confidence token of Gladiator just makes him Thing not good. Because Thing, it says when an opponent takes damage. So with Gladiator, you just say, I don't take damage, and the whole thing's over. There was potential there, but no. No, none of the miniatures game. All right, Empire. All right. So most of these are bad. Daredevil makes a team, 25-point prop, flurry, stealth. He's good. He just makes the team. Just period. Sunspot doesn't have anything for Avengers, unfortunately. If this did it for Avengers, then I would consider it. But unfortunately, no. Monica Rambeau, she's cool, but no cigar. Scarlet Witch, meh, too many points. Hulkling is neat. Obviously, Captain America, he's the switch out person. We're playing 2 of them. Give him precision strike somehow. It's true. There is a ring for that. Not daimonic. Is it daimonic? I think it's daimonic. Or you can give him Waldo arms and hope you roll the extra attack. You get free Waldo arms anyway. I'm starting to like Thing a little bit more now that you guys are talking me into it. Yeah, it's daimonic or... man, shoot. What's the other ring? Spectral. Is it spectral? It might be spectral. That gives precision strike. Though I don't know if that works against Gladiator, now that I think about it. Because I don't know if Gladiator is reduce. I don't think Gladiator says reduce. Yeah, so it wouldn't work against Gladiator, because Gladiator specifically says when he would take damage, he may instead remove a confidence token and take no damage. If it said reduce to 0, then I think the Precision Strike would work, but I don't think Precision Strike works against Gladiator with the confidence token. It's my guess. Because you're not reducing, you're just saying, I take no damage. I know that sounds backwards, because you're like, well, you take no damage, so you take 0. It's like, well, no, if the wording had said it reduces, Precision Strike says you can't reduce. So yeah, back to Empire. So Captain America, we're playing 2, because we want to get rid of Captain America. So the question is whether we play at 75 or 40, because we might play 1 at 75 and 1 at 40 to give us more points to deal with. But Cap makes it. I'll put both of them. Ultron Pimp's the one I've been debating, because I don't have a lot of primes on here. I don't have any primes, actually. So he could fit the prime slot. He's super solid. He will make Thanos real. I mean, Thanos is probably going theme, maybe non-theme. And if so, then you just don't bring him in. But he does bring a lot to the table. He could get you enough bots to maybe slowly whittle down Thanos. You're not winning off of mission points, I'll tell you that much. Not with just Ultron Pym. I have tested that pretty thoroughly. You're not winning off of mission points. Because he's got mind control. So he'll just keep moving your people off of the stupid things. Unless you bring up Widow, which, nah. I'm going to put Ultron Pym on there, because I think he's solid. This is another figure that I was mentioning earlier. I wish they allowed title characters to be replaced. They need to just change that rule. Because title characters being replaced would be great. That would make most of the title characters actually playable. I don't think there's any occurrences that would throw that off and suddenly make it where it breaks title characters. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Because Infamous Iron Man is one that I'm actually kind of interested in. I'm not playing him, but he's interesting. Marvel, no. Mr. Fantastic, yes, because he's 30 points. He does break up some barrier. It does take him a while to get over there. But he's something to think about. Thanos, as much as you probably want Thanos on an Avengers team, because he does bring a lot to the table, 100 points for that is bad. Beast is cool with an animal team. I'm not feeling Beast on Avenger. Sorry. Too many points. So let's see. You were mentioning earlier, plug in Chase Sentry with Power Gem. Were you talking full point 150? Flight, flurry charge, but do not have speed. 13 for 6? It's that stupid Horseman of Death trait, man. That's the one that I'm just like, because I kill something and I could potentially deal Century of damage. I don't want that. Also, 150 is really bad without a stop click in this instance. He has no stop click, so get someone that could deal some hefty damage and start whittling them down. Not a fan. Plus, I could play, 3 Sky Tyrants? If I really, really wanted to. I know that's a cheap cop-out. I hate the cop-out of I could just play Sky Tyrant. But if he was 100 points with this style, I'd be game. I honestly would be game. Wolverine. You're probably healing. I mean, every turn. I thought about him. 100 points, really long dial. Exploit, 12. He's got Charge Flurry. It's not bad. I actually like him better at 50? 60? Actually, well, no. If I played him, it'd be at maybe 60. 60 will just kill him. 100 actually makes him somewhat playable because he heals every turn, and maybe if you're playing on this team, he'll heal at least 2. If you roll a 4 through 6 of 3, he'll heal 3. It's not terrible, but probably still not playable. I'd rather play the non-killable Wolverines. No to Namor, even though bringing in Dolphins are pretty neat. I will say that. Scarlet Witch, 35, Force Blast. I'll put her to the list maybe. Hawkeye's bad. Captain America's an interesting one. He's actually... I was going to post a poll today for the fringe meta pieces. The live stream I'm going to do for fringe meta pieces. He's actually on that list. Because I think he's really good. 50 points, 11 for 4. You can carry him up there and he just free make a close attack. 11 for 4. The problem is there's not really a friendly Black Panther you want to play. But he's really solid for the points. Any free attacker is pretty solid, especially 11 for 4. So, besides that, you don't need any of these LE figures. So the question I present to you, here's all these pretty okay Avengers. Is there enough here in this list, and the list might be a little hard to read. I can zoom in a little bit. Is this enough? Is there enough pieces here to make this work? Yeah, the AVP I chase, yeah, the Black Panther one. But that Black Panther needs another Black Panther to be really good. So you're investing a decent amount of points into that. So if I'm looking at my bigger pieces in this, so I feel like Chase Widow probably makes the team. I was starting to get a little sold on Thing, not going to lie. But what other teams would Thing even be good on? Like against? That Immortal Hulk can't do for 40 points less, and maybe a better chance. Because the hope is that we get Waldo arms, right? And we're hoping that we can get Waldo arms to just equip Hulk turn 1. Because I forgot about the free Waldo arms when I put Immortal Hulk on here, and I kind of like him a little bit better with the Waldo arms. Because you get the Waldo arms for free. We talked about Thor. Thor being potentially my sniper. That's scary right here. Click 2, just dealing 1, and he's down to just sidestep. So, I'm not thrilled with that. We don't have much in the way of barrier. But that's a support thing. We'll get there. So, Superior Spider-Man's off the team because he's just trading out. Ultron Pym is probably making it as a switch in. Man, not gonna lie, there's not a lot of heavy hitters for Captain America for Avengers. So let's get to the whiteboard. Oopadoo. So I got most of these pieces out here. Here's the long range sniper piece. Captain Marvel I have on there. Is just Captain Marvel. I posed this question to the Clickstuff crew and to PJ, and I got conflicting answers. Is Captain Marvel just gone? Is she just not good? Is she just not good anymore? 95 points. She's got 2 stop clicks, hypersonic, rush in, pen, punch somebody, drop a Chewie. I mean, that's all still solid, right? Because she was really, really good. And now she's just mad. It's insane how subtly the power creep happens. Because here's our heavy hitters for Avengers right now. I made this back when we didn't have a picture of the chase. Jason does all of that for 20 points less. Yeah, but that's Jason Weingard. We're not talking Weingard. Don't bring your Weingard shenanigans in here. So, like, these are our heavy hitters, right? And I don't have Thing because I didn't actually think Thing was going to be that good. And he still isn't really that good. If the Pog does badly, she isn't worth. Yeah. Potentially. The hypersonic and the pen damage she deals isn't anything to just cough at. Now, it's not good against Thanos, because Thanos just reduces the pen damage. But it's pretty good against stop clicks, right? Like, it's not bad against Blackheart. Like, it's pretty good against Blackheart, is it not? Where's good old Blackheart? Because you can punch Blackheart to a stop click and then do the pen damage to get him to 18. It's not bad. Then again, that's 95 points going against 75. So I guess the power creep is pretty real. She doesn't do much against Emperor Gladiator. The other threat, I guess the other big threat that we saw at Worlds was Jubilee. She doesn't really do anything against Jubilee. Hulk is probably good for Jubilee. Because Hulk has Battle Fury to get through the shape change. He could deal 4 damage. How much does he do? 4 damage. Just take her down 2. Hit her again, take her down 2. If you roll well on the Waldo Arms, obviously. Because it doesn't give you flurry. It only gives you close attack on a 6. She's just an older figure that would be better if she was made now. Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel that. I'm warming up to Immortal Hulk a little bit. Because I'm looking at these pieces and saying, okay, these are my bigger pieces for Avengers. I'm not ready to go Swarm. I don't think Avengers has the Swarm. I guess Pym could be out here. I think he's good enough for the team. My Pym. I have one right here. I have 2, actually. Good old Pym. I think he's good enough to make the team in general. Maybe just bring him in. Pym with Exo is good. I'm not even concerned about Pym running out and attacking. He can even have the Waldo Arms for all I care. Like, Waldo Arms Pym is fine. As long as you have a TK to move him around, it's fine. But I don't know if I main force Pym. Because there is that stupid, the PJ rule, as I call it, because PJ is the one that recognized it. The rule where you could just choose not to be a theme team when at the beginning of the game, or when you're whatchamacallit, establishing theme teams. You could just say, oh, the Avengers are here? No, we're not the Avengers. And just, now you lose map bonus and all that stuff. I get it, but people could just do that to completely negate Pym. Because Pym and Black Widow don't really work well together because you can't re-roll those low ones. And you want them to re-roll the low ones. So they don't really work well together because you want them to re-roll, essentially. Because you want them to take the unavoidable. But is there anyone else I'm missing for Avengers that can fit in this slot and be good? attackers, primarily. Someone I'm building a team around. Now, there could be some low-point Avengers I'm not thinking of. But, I mean, we captured most of them on this screen. And I just don't know, to be honest. Like, I don't feel confident about most of these pieces. So that's why I'm presenting other options. You've got 2 tracks you can go. Authority. Why am I clicking on authority? There are 2 tracks you could go, I think, to help Avengers with their problems. You want Prime, Marvel, not Pym. Yep, I'm getting there. Absolutely. You can either go build Fantastic Four, like a swap out with Avengers, which is a lot trickier to do. But I also don't know if Avengers have enough. Fantastic Four has enough pieces. Like Franklin Von Doom is good, but he's only good if you have a mastermind piece that can mastermind to him, which Pym could do. But actually, can Pym do it? Pym could do it. He's enough points. But who's going to attack Pym? Unless you get Pym right up in the fray. But like, there's not a lot of like heavy hitters. Like maybe a Quicksilver or something. Nah. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about it. So you have 2 other options. So one of the options, Hypertime alluded to, is you got your old boy, Steve Rogers. Now, I am still waiting on a ruling. I am 99% sure it works this way, but you cannot play Steve Rogers to make someone an Avenger and then stick him on your sideline. Like 99% sure that doesn't work. Because there's something about building your team and like when you're building your force, your starting force, you have to have people on your starting force, and then things activate, and blah, 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 blah. It's convoluted. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I understood it. So I posed that question to WizKids, and they're actually still getting back to me on it. I am 99% sure that it doesn't work. If it does work, that makes Avengers amazing. Let me just preface that makes Avengers amazing. If I could play 3 Steve Rogers and throw 3 figures on my sideline, Molecule Man, Sky Tyrant, Prime Marvel, or whatever, Avengers is like immediately up to the top. Got to figure out the math, but that just makes things so much better. Almost the ultimate Swiss Army knife. So if I'm looking at things that I need for Avengers, I need barrier, because I don't think they have a really, really good barrier. Let me look. I didn't actually look. Because you have the one from Songbird. Yay. So let's look in special powers first. See if there's any. Hawkeye? Oh, he can use but for 1. Yeah, who cares? Barrier for 50. TK 19. That 19 defense. That's not actually terrible. No. Songbird and then big old guy. So like that might be our closest, but 50 points is a lot for barrier and TK and a 19 defend. That's still a lot. Let's see if they've got any printed, because I don't think they do. Last I checked, I'm pretty sure they don't have something good printed. Excuse me. No, I didn't do that wrong, right? Keyword, modern age, defensive powers barrier on first click only. Nothing. Anywhere on the dial, there's a couple, and it's all invisible women. So yeah, see, that's a big problem for Avengers. It's just they don't have a good barrier piece. Now, you could go zero ring and kind of do your own, but that doesn't work after first turn. If you lose map, that's just not going to work. So I'll add her to the list because 50 points is a lot, but it's not the worst ever. So that puts Molecule Man up on my list for Steve bringing in Molecule Man. Molecule Man is the hottest. You know, we just did the poll, and he is by far the best meta piece. He was voted out of the up to 50 points. He's just stupid good. Let's see. Can I... Here, I'll just try to... I wish there was a way I could save this and then start a new list. But let's look at just generally... in the range of 40 to 50. I don't want really low point pieces. No keywords. I just want to know like some strong 40 to 50 pieces that I could bring in with Steve. Because Steve could get me Molecule Man. Now, you could go double Steve and bring in two things, but that really is... I've tried to do the math on it. It's really not good. It's really hard to do the math. Really, really hard. Not impossible, just very, very difficult. So, like, none of these pieces... Golden Oldie? No. Wolverine, maybe, if you want to do a double Wolverine. Now, Captain Marvel is probably the first one on the list. I would definitely bring in. Pair him with Immortal Hulk. Have him fly Immortal Hulk around. No, Immortal Hulk has Battle Fury, so that won't work. Like, he's a good attacker on his own. So, like, he's probably on the top of my list, and you can see that here. You know, I have him. Like, I have him here. Like, I was immediately putting him in. Because he's that good. He is one of the main reasons I'm doing the Fringe live stream. Is just because he allows pieces that would just die to survive. So... Demon in Armor, you can... Oh, let me switch it back. You could do Demon in Armor, but I don't think Demon in Armor is good just on his own, or worth it for that. It doesn't help against Thanos, because Thanos is already a 13. Helps against some other things, but... I'll put him on the list for maybe. Mole Man, Human Torch, none of these. Firebelly. No. Well, that's funny. You could bring 50-point Gladiator. I didn't even think about that. You don't need Nathaniel Richards. You could do that with Fantastic Four. You do Bishop if you really wanted to, but that's kind of a waste. Because you could bring him in and then, like, bring him in with Steve and then just rotate him out. Because once he starts the game with the keyword, you could then just switch him out if you wanted to. You could do that for any of these. None of these. None of the Spider-Man figures. See, there's just not a lot out there that I'm dying to have. Like, I could bring the Thing in just to get a Ben, or whatever their names are, the two Pogs. Buzz and Chuck. But even then, I'm kind of like, okay, Buzz and Chuck. Yay. Sky Tyrant? Yeah, I'm absolutely getting the Sky Tyrant Raiden. I'm just making sure I don't miss anybody else that I'm interested in. I forgot Molecule Man. Huh. I even mentioned him earlier. Molecule Man absolutely... makes... Oh, he's 30 points. That's why he's not showing up there. That's why I did 40 to 50 points. Danger Room figures. They don't bring enough to the table. I could bring Harry Leland in. Harry's not terrible. He's pretty hard to play. Definitely hard to play. So I'll add him to the list. So sick of Skyrant. Yep. Sky Tyrant is a thing, but you know what? He's not as big of a thing as he used to be. Just because people are tired of playing him. Yeah. You could bring in a Scarab, a Sky Tyrant. I don't know if Commissioner's worth it. You could bring in Batman. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd bring in Batman, but he is an option. Micron, Atom. Meh. So that's about it, right? Mr. Oz if you really need a TK. Can't do the Flash because you want the TK Flash. So we've got Captain Marvel, Demon in Armor, Harry Leland, Scarab, Sky Tyrant, Batman, and Mr. Oz. Those are kind of like the cream of the crop when it comes to meta figures. Captain Marvel is probably at the top of my list. Let's go back over here. Let me grab some of these pieces that I talked about. That's not what I want. I want Molecule Man. Where are you, Molecule Man? Alright, so Molecule Man. Let's see. We had Sky Tyrant. I don't know if I made a Sky Tyrant Pog. Nope, I didn't make a Sky Tyrant Pog. Hold on. Hold on. Takes me just a second. Thank you, HC Maps, for having all this stuff out here. I got a little lazy. Just didn't make a Sky Tyrant Pog. That just shows you how little I play Sky Tyrant. Let's see. Into Wonder Woman. Go ahead and save. And just drag him out here. Hey, Sky Tyrant. What else? What else could I put? What were the other ones I had pressed in here? Let's see. Harry. I've got Harry. We got Molecule Man. We've got Batman. I'm not actually going to put Batman in there, and I'm not actually going to put Mr. Oz in there. Because we're not going to have high enough theme to really want Batman out there, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's a cool concept, but Batman's better with Sky Tyrant because it's a twofer. You're going against Batman and Sky Tyrant. I think I'd rather have Demon in Armor than Harry. Oh yeah, Demon in Armor. I didn't put him on the list, but you're right. I could put Demon in Armor on there. Yeah, Demon in Armor does give us the TK. Now, Scarab could give us the double, could give us the first turn barrier if we equip Zero Ring. Like, that's a big deal. Is it crazy I'm really considering Sky Tyrant? Does anybody out there think I'm crazy? Because I'm looking at this team here, right? Just adding a Sky Tyrant to, like, a Happy Hogan, and, like, Pym, maybe Songbird to get us through some barrier, maybe some aim guys, maybe something else, and then, like, Sky Tyrant. Oh yeah, we have to have what's her face? No, I just hate him. That's fair. That's fair. Does Sky Tyrant have enough? Sky Tyrant doesn't have enough to take out Thanos, right? Because he won't kill anything. Now he could go to the back line and try to take out some of Thanos' other stuff. And you won't have ATK. You have ATK. Or you could get a TK. There are Avenger TK pieces. I guess I should have that out there too. Because the main things you always want on any team, right, is you want TK barrier and then prob or perplex. You could probably forgo the prob if you have theme. And then you could probably... the perplex can go if you have high numbers. but you probably want a perplex for those bad days. So let me make sure that I've looked and I have all the like TK pieces, because I need a good TK that maybe I don't have to bring in with Steve. Because ultimately we probably want Prime Marvel, right? Sorry, Raiden, I don't know what you're saying nope to. Is it just there's no good TK pieces? Yeah, these are just all so expensive. Oh yeah, there was this Invisible Woman again. She's got the barrier and... Man, am I really going to choose her? Any cheap in power? Yeah, there is cheap in power, actually. AM Red Squad. If anything for Avengers, like, that's the one thing they actually have decent figures for, is AIM Squad. So we're thinking like an AIM Squad to go carry up, and so now Sky Tyrant's doing, because he's gonna have Waldo arms, so Sky Tyrant's gonna do 11 for 4. That would hit Thanos twice, and you could boop away and most likely make your way back. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I don't know how good it is, because you're just doing 4 damage to Thanos. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets him past his scarier clicks. He can regen most of that up. High defense for the team. Oh, for if I'm playing Invisible Woman. Yeah, that Invisible Woman is kind of surprising. Not gonna lie. That's pretty surprising. Barrier, 19 defend for everybody. TK. And you don't even have to be around them, like next to her, to get the benefit of the defend, because you could just put her barrier around and everyone gets it. All right, let me put her on the thing. So if we're playing her, this is why Avengers is so difficult. If anybody's sitting here, 8 versus 10 damage on Thanos, we could probably put gems on there. Yeah, we absolutely could. We're not to that point yet, I don't think. Because we could play Namor, and Namor at 80 points, switch him out, he drops the power gem. So, Namor and the Spider-Man. I don't have the Spider-Man out here, I don't think. Superior? Do I have Superior Spider-Man? Hey, I do. We'll just put one of these out here. Alright, let me organize this a little better. So these are all our maybes. This is what I mean by visual person. I prefer to just have all of these out here. So these are our starting people. These are our starting force people. We know we're going to have 2 Steves. Or Captain America, sorry. 2 Captain Americas. We have 2, so that way you switch them out and you get rid of both of them. We're going to have a Steve, because we're now to the point where we think, yeah, we've got to bring somebody else in. Avengers have too many things, and I haven't looked at Fantastic Four. I get that. Fantastic Four is an option. That could get us a cheap barrier. Barrier and TK. I mean, I could bring in Franklin Richards and he gives me both. He takes damage, but he could give me both. So you got both of these. You could do Namor at 75. Costs 80 points because of the plus 5 for the gem. But 75 points, you could switch him out for another 75-point figure, which could be a Widow. Could be that Thor we were talking about. And then the one-on-one trade would be 40 point for a 40 point. So we would have to figure out the 40 point thing. Or you could just do 85 points Superior Spider-Man. 85 point I think would be easier with a 75 point That's a lot of points. A 75 points Captain America. And here, is there a way I could just type a number next to them? Let's see, I think so. I think I could just say 75 point. And then give him a nameplate. Oh my goodness, that's like the tiniest. That is the that's the tiniest nameplate. I was not expecting it to be that slow or small. No, that's what I'm kind of limited to. It's because I got everything blown up so big. Yes, the Walder Worms is arguably better on Sky Tyrant than Power Gem. Potentially get you another attack. Even the +1 to defense isn't that bad. But you'll know what you get at the beginning of the turn, blah, 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 blah. So, consideration for Black Leopard. Problem with Black Leopard is I'm already battling between two primes. And I've just never been that sold on him because he needs line of fire. I think that's why I'm just not as sold on Black Leopard. Maximum attack, defense, and damage values for the opposing characters within 6 squares and line of fire are each equal to Black Leopard's printed value. And I'm just not fond of the lines of fire needed for that because they could just circumvent that. They could just go around a person or block line of fire somehow, and then Black Leopard's kind of just chilling there, saying, "Uh-oh, that trait's not as good." So that's why I'm not a super big fan. I get he's really good, but considering I'm fighting over 2 other primes potentially, I don't know. So we got a Steve. So 75, 40. So we're at 115. Let me get a calculator out. I guess I'm cutting ahead just slightly because I'm already trying to do the math and I shouldn't. I need to figure out a team just in general. So which one do we want to build with first? Do we want to build with Sky Tyrant or do we want to build with one of these others? Because I don't think you could really play a good Avengers team without Steve bringing someone in. So who should I bring in first to try to build around? Do we want to do Sky Tyrant, Prime Marvel, Molecule Man, Demon in Armor, Scarab, or Leland? Because I think those are really the only options. Because I'm not bringing in I'm not using Steve for like a retail or something. I don't think he can. He's standard characters anyway, I think is what he says. Yeah, standard character. Yeah, so no retail there. Prime Marvel. All right. That was the first one I saw. Raiden was first. I knew Raiden was going to say that anyway because he really just... or no, it was Lord Archaeos that doesn't like Sky Tyrant, so never mind. All right. So, let's do it. So, Prime Marvel. He's a decent attacker on his own. He's a legit secondary attacker. He could even be your main attacker if you really, really, really desperately need him to. Let's pull him up real quick. So his trait again, he's also got shield, which is super good. When a friendly character within range of line of fire is targeted with an attack, before the attack is made, you may place Captain Marvel in a square adjacent to that character, and he becomes a target of the attack instead, even if he would otherwise be an illegal target. The problem with him is also stealth is a problem on your own team. Because he does need line of fire, and when it's your opponent's team, stealth works. So he really needs to just be adjacent. That's the ideal scenario. And then Energy Explosion, Pensai, when he hits with a range attack of each hit character and action token, he's got leadership. He's solid, super solid. So he's really the linchpin for a defensive team. So who are we defending? That's my question. So if he's like a secondary attacker, who are we looking for to defend? That's what I'm really struggling with an Avenger team. Is it Immortal Hulk? Is it 75-point Thor? Is it Captain Marvel? Now, Thor, we were talking about, he's good until he takes 1 damage. Is he good enough? With Prime Marvel, he won't take damage unless they use Energy Explosion. But even then, he's got Invincible, I believe. Like, you're not switching out Prime Marvel once you bring him on the team. He's there for 50 points. Now, obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. is better for Thor. S.H.I.E.L.D. is better for Black Widow. So, these are the 2 considerations I would think of as those 2. Captain Marvel isn't really going to stick around. What about War Machine? We looked at War Machine for a second. I can pull him back up, though. I assume you're talking about Super Rare War Machine. That dial just spooks me. That's why I didn't like him. Now, Marvel obviously circumvents that. Once per turn, so that's assembled Avengers, that's okay. When War Machine hits, after resolutions, you may give a hit character a target lock token, then remove all other target lock tokens. Free, make a range attack using War Machine's printed attack and damage values, but only to target a character. So it's basically like a flurry, a range flurry, as long as you hit once. He has his own perplex. He has shield, so that's double shields for someone else. Could give him the power gem, 12 for 16. But that's really relying on Marvel. He gets through hindering, which is pretty big. Getting through hindering's big. I don't know. There's just something about him I'm just not super thrilled with. Not saying he's bad. I just don't know if I want to build around him. You know what I mean? Okay. Oop, wrong one. Oh, sorry. I wasn't showing anything. I had him pulled up. Here's War Machine. That dial just spooks me. It takes 2 damage. But we were saying that about Thor, but Thor's 25 points less. This is Thor. He's probably... Yeah, he probably is better than Thor. I mean, Thor has ESD and poison, which who cares about the poison? He's got a second attack too, but it's with energy explosion. What do you guys think? War Machine or Thor? Do you like either of them? Is there anybody that would be good with the Liar Ring? I know that's really out of left field, but that gives you a 10 range mind control. Does War Machine have multiple targets? Where is he? I assume he has like 2, right? Yeah, he's got 2 targets. It's not bad. Is there anyone on Avengers with 3 targets? That's what I want. If I could get a good 3... Well, I guess Captain Marvel has 2 or 3. He's got 3. Oh. Well, there you go. Just give Captain Marvel the Liar Ring. 15 range, essentially. Because you got a 10 range mind control, triple target, 5 movement. So is there a team where you build around Marvel? I assume it's bad to build around Marvel because he's the one going to be taking all the hits. But your vote is for War Machine. Okay. Oh, yeah. I was seeing if there's anybody else with Avengers that has like 3 targets. Because I'm game for a 3-target mind control with a 10 range. Did I do that right? Targets 3. Who do we got? We got, yeah, Daredevil, that's right. Monica, nah. I mean, I guess that's not bad. Meh. Deadpool. That's right. Triple target Deadpool. I keep going back to this, man. Because he turns off equipment, too. Invisible Woman. Hawkeye, Captain America. Oh, I forgot this Captain America has that in Kang. It's not really a lot. No cream of the crop sitting here. Alright. So let's say we're gonna do for you, Raiden, I'll do what's his face? War Machine. So let's build with War Machine. Let me get him real quick. Definitely don't have his image. Doop-a-doo. Save it to Captain America folder. Come on, hard drive. Save it, and then, ta-da, here's War Machine. Alright. So we got War Machine. War Machine Prime Marvel. 150 points. Probably Happy Hogan to carry him around. Because he could carry 2. It's really a shame that he's not Iron Man. That would be sweet. I know it's War Machine, but you could probably get away with a enhancement or 2. That's probably not bad. We gotta have our 75-point Widow. We could switch her out, but we're gonna keep her on the team for now. Sorry about that. Son needed me to put in a chip in the Switch. Okay, so we're gonna do Black Widow, but we have the option of switching her out if we don't want her. So she could be one of our switch outs. She probably will be one of our switch outs to get to War Machine. But just in case we're going against Thanos, which I don't know. Do you think War Machine's enough to go against Thanos? He's got 2 attacks on him, right? 2 attacks for 5 or 6 damage? That might be enough. I don't know if Thanos has the answer. So this is 175, 225. So this is 225 here, just these 3. I know we've got to figure out the switch outs. We'll figure that out. 225. Maybe a Happy Hogan or 2. We might have to in order to be able to fit everybody on. And then probably an enhancement dude. That doesn't feel great. I also don't have any barrier, which that does feel bad. No, I could do Zero Ring. We already know there's no other barrier outside of Songbird. So we could do Songbird for like 1 thing of barrier. Because her thing doesn't allow her to use barrier in general. I believe hers is literally only just 1 barrier. Where is she? Barrier as free. But only to generate 1. So I read that to mean that she can't do normal barrier. I'm not wrong, right? Barrier as free means you can only use it as free and you only get to generate 1. So that's not ideal. Not ideal. It's really a bummer Avengers doesn't really have other barrier. But you don't have to have barrier. Because, let's see. She has stealth. Who else on this team has stealth? Let's see. She as in, Shifty Widow. Does Happy have... Happy has stealth. So you could stealth wall yourself in. That doesn't help against Sky Tyrant, obviously. But it helps against, like, Batman teams and long-range Gladiator teams. Did you consider using 2 Steve Rogers? Yes. So here's the problem with 2 Steve Rogers. Here's the problem. If I don't do 75 points, I do 40, 40, 50, 50. So that's 180 points. And I bring in, let's say, Molecule Man and Prime Marvel. So that's 260 points. Right there. And then I only have 90 points to play with for each switch out. I think I did my math right. 40, 40, 50, 50, so 180. Molecule Man's 30, so 210, 260. And then you could do 2 20-point figures if you really want, but I don't think that's a good idea because you have to have the same amount of figures. So you can have 1 40-point figure on there. I'd say a 40-point. I don't think she's 40, but a 40-point figure on there to feed into one of these 3 furs. So 20 points gets you up to 100 point. So I mean, I guess that's possible. Means you don't get the shifting focus with Widow, though. But you don't have to. You could just have the 1 shifting Widow. So we said this is our team. Let's say She-Hulk is 40. Yeah, there's plenty of 40-point pieces. So let's build this out then. So this is what we're thinking. These 2. Because it gives me my barrier, gives me my protection. So now we're working in the reverse. As opposed to a final team... we kind of know what we want to do with the final team. Let's work backwards. So now, or frontwards. One of those. So let's go back to, oh, sorry, this is what we were working with. Now let's go back to here. I got to remember to switch off this stuff. So we've got 2 Steves, 2 Captain Americas, I should say. Not 75 point. 2 40s. And this would be so much easier if they just took my recommendation to allow you to put them on your sideline. 2 Steves. And now we want Molecule Man. And we want Prime Marvel. $60. So this means no objects either. So we're not doing any of the tricks for free Waldo arms or Power Gem. We'd have to play those as normal. So I will say this. There are 20-point, Happy Hogan being one of them. There are 20-point Avengers. There are not anything lower than 20 points. So you could get away with a 30-point Avenger. Which I think, funny enough, was Songbird. So like a 30-point Avenger. Like Mr. Fantastic. Songbird, I was right. AM White Squad for an Outwit or Perplex. It doesn't matter. This figure doesn't matter. So if you really want to go bold, you could play Ant-Man just to throw some people off. But we'll say for the sake of things, we'll do a Songbird. And then 10 points for an object. 2 rings, maybe. Or a location bonus. And a ring. But we'll leave the 10 points. So now we need to switch out Captain America 40 and Steve Rogers 50 in order to get to 100 points. 100 points won't work. Can't get to a 100-point figure. It is impossible with this combo. You would have to forego objects for it to work. Because if you did 40, it would work to get up to a 100-point figure. Does everybody see why that works? I assume you guys have good math skills. But yeah, like you say, you can do She-Hulk, Wasp, throw people off by playing Ghost Rider. You know, if you're just switching them out, it doesn't matter. But if you went like this and said, all right, I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus 7. Plus 7's good. Not great. Good. You could then, at that point, take out... You'd have a 3-fer. A 3 trade. A 40, a 50, and a 40, 40... Sorry. 130 points to work with. Oh, that still doesn't work. Yeah, that still wouldn't be enough. 130 points, you can't get a 100-point figure. Because that only leaves you 30 points for 2 more people. And there are no 15-point Avengers. So that's really... Yeah, I knew there was a reason why 2 Steves wasn't really on my mind. It is just too difficult. If Avengers had, like, multiple man, you know, X-Men has multiple man to work with. Hellfire doesn't really have that many figures to switch in and out. But even they have, I think, a low point figure to choose. Avengers doesn't have that. So double Steves is probably not the right call. Now, you could just go Molecule Man and not play Captain Marvel. Molecule Man is pretty good on his own, especially if you're taking away people's improved targeting. So you take away Gladiator's destroy blocking. Make it where he can't use that to shoot any of your people. That's going to hurt. And on top of that, you could add in stealth. So that way if he does try to shoot you, you know, it's someone destroys the blocking. Well, now he has to see through hindering, which he can't do. So Molecule Man might be better than Captain Marvel, but we said we were going to do Captain Marvel. So let's go back to the drawing board. We're going to take Steve out. We're going to take those out. So this is 50, 50. We're at 180. We feel like in order to get him, we probably want to boost one of these guys up to 75. $75 is just easier. So that would make this 125, 165, 215. So we're at 215, and that actually gives us Spider-Man if we really, really wanted. Because he's 185, I believe. Or he's 85, I should say. This is why I like to set out and just map it out. Like, try to do it visually. My perfect version of a... Superior Spider-Man is 85. My perfect version of a Teambuilder is doing this visually. It's my dream at some point to make that. So you could do this. This is 300, I think. 85, 75, so 160, 40, 200, 50, 50. So this is 300 points. And so you sub out... Can we get to this? You could do a straight sub out of... let's switch these up. Is there a 50-point... Oh, okay. We'll say this is the one Invisible Woman we saw with the barrier. So you could do a straight swap out with 75-point Cap and 50-point Steve Rogers to give you Black Widow and Invisible Woman. This might be way too much defense, but we'll say we'll go with it. So our team now looks like this. So that gives us the 19 defend, barrier TK, Black Widow gives us the protection. So does Prime Marvel. You then take... This is 70. This isn't 75. This is 40 point. So you then take out 15 points. That gives you 35 point. Oh, this is why this is so tricky. Because you take him out, you only need 15 points for Punisher. So that gives you 25 point. Did I do that math wrong? 125. Yeah, it only gives you 25 points left, so that would be a Happy Hogan. I think I'm doing the math right. 85, 40, so 125. 100 points for Punisher for just War Machine. He has 100 points, right? I'm not tripping. Let me confirm. 100 points. So he has 100 points. So that leaves us 25 points. There isn't really a good 25-point Avenger. I had considered Chip, believe it or not, as a potential swap-in piece. What do you guys think about Chip? Good? Bad? Ugly? Chip for 35 points, using Steve Rogers to make him an Avenger. Not terrible. Alright, sorry about that. My son needed to know how to jump in Spyro. Good, was on a winning team. Who are we talking about again? Sorry. Oh, we're talking about, Chip. See, this is why I had to sit down with the team, because the problem with the team, with, like, Avengers, is that it's really, really... Avengers feels like it should be better than it is. And this is why it's going to take me multiple team building sessions, because, you know, we haven't even scratched the surface about the Avengers Fantastic Four Switchout. But Chip could be on there. Chip gives you the ESD, he gives you the taxi, he gives you the prob and the TK. And only 35 points. So this could be one of your War Machine teams. You're off by 5 points, I believe. Now you could, in theory, if you don't want to do Black Widow, so say you're not going against the Thanos team, there are other 75-point Avengers, clearly. Like, you could just bring in Thor. This honestly doesn't feel too bad. I actually kind of dig this. You've got 3 attackers. You've got Punisher. I keep saying Punisher, War Machine. You've got War Machine, Thor. This can't be enough points, right? Yeah, it is enough points. This honestly doesn't feel bad. Now, I don't know why you would do Waldo arms. Waldo could go on any of them. We were also 10 points down when we built... No, we weren't. Not this version. This version, we were right on. So you would get Waldo arms, which I don't know who it would be good on, because these are all kind of long-range attackers. Thor, probably, because he'll probably get knocked off his running shot first. And he goes to charge. But this should be... everything said and done, 300 points. Because Happy's going to be worth 25. So 25, 100, 75, 50. So 250, 100. Yeah, I mean, this is 100 points, and you get Waldo arms. That's not bad. I don't know if it's super amazing, but it gives you enough threats, I feel like. It is theme. It's only +5, I think, was our original team, right? 40, 50... Who else did we have on this team? Oh, Marvel. 100... 140... yeah, so it's only a +5. +5 is not good. Or not great. But this does give you the defend. Happy can carry up. So if I was setting this up on a board of some sort, you're not equipped. Well, you have Waldo Arms, but it's actually in the square of what you replace. So if we're giving it to him, giving it to Thor, I should say, then he could just equip it turn 1. She could barrier everybody in. And then you'd just be sitting pretty with a 19 defend behind barrier. That's not bad. You would probably position it more like this. If you're going this way. Probably more like the... no, you want her in the middle. That is a little tricky. You would do this then. Unless it's a 2-person one. Hold on. I could get this. This is that puzzle where you want everybody next to this. So she has to be in the middle. You really want Happy Hogan next to those, but I guess he could just carry everybody else, right? So we don't actually care about Happy, so you could do something like this. This would probably be better. So that way Marvel protects your main pieces. And you could obviously switch this. So you could obviously just do it like this instead. So that way, Marvel, everyone has the 19. He's in stealth, so he could stealth block for you. Prime Marvel's protecting all 3 of these. He doesn't get Happy because you need line of fire. And I mean, you could do Sue like that, but why would you want to do that? You want the 19 defend on everybody. If they come over and kill Happy, it's really not that big of a deal. And honestly, you don't even need Happy to carry people. You could do him to get enhancement. That's probably better. Happy's there for a taxi, but he's not an amazing taxi. So if you really wanted to, you could go Red Squad instead and get the Empower and enhancement. That's probably better. This isn't a bad package. What do you guys think? War Machine, Prime Marvel, Thor, Red Aim Dude, and then this is the Empire minigame Invisible Woman. And I'll pull her up again, because actually she really surprised me. I didn't actually look at her. 50 point, stealth. Oh, she's even got stealth, so she gets stealth block too. Stealth, barrier, 19 defend, and TK for 50 points. What you guys think? While you're thinking, feel free to follow me on Twitch. Whatever you do on Twitch. I don't know if you follow people. I guess I gotta look that up. Like or follow. Feel free to hit that follow button. That'd be cool. I'm going to start, once I get into my new house, which I'm still not there, I'll be doing more of these consistently. General team building. Because I really like the interaction. I love doing the podcast, but I like the back and forth interaction of, oh yeah, I forgot about this figure. So to sum it up again, what we've come up with so far. This is only one build. And man, the thing is Marvel can... This is really not that bad of a team to just slip Marvel out, because most of these pieces up here, all of these pieces up chip are 50 points. What's up, Harry? Is Harry 50? I can never remember if Harry's 50. Is he 50? He's 50, right? Yeah, I'm not crazy. Like, all these pieces up here, they're all 50 points, except for Chip. So I could go, instead of Prime Marvel, you could go that, and you probably could get Pym instead if you really wanted to. Okay, guys, I'm kind of liking this a little bit more. Not gonna lie. I think she does have Avengers. I'm not crazy, right? I didn't just make up that she had Avengers. Always gotta double check. Okay, she does. Thank goodness. She is probably on an Avengers Switch team. She might be a requirement. Unless you are doing Steve Rogers to get Molecule Man. 50 points is a lot for that. But she gives you the TK and barrier and defend. A 19 defend. And stealth. And she could put out the barrier and give you defend from range. That's pretty cool. Oh, so you could technically position this better. Because if she is... so if we're going back to the original team of this... You could technically have her over here. No, you're not here. I had Thor. So if this was our original team, you could technically have Happy over here, and then when you barrier, everyone's going to get the defend anyway because of her trait or her defensive power, which is the friendly characters adjacent to one of Invisible Wound's barrier markers may replace their defensive value with Invisible Wound's printed defensive value. Now, this team doesn't really have a perplex, but I don't know if you really need it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm actually feeling a little bit better. I think Steve is probably a requirement, just to give a little bit more oomph to the Avengers. Because Prime Marvel is good. If you wanted to go more defensive, you could go Black Widow just to protect for Thanos. And then make War Machine out there. Now, War Machine's 100 points, so you could easily get rid of him, put in Black Widow, get rid of him, put in Immortal Hulk. And what's funny with the Immortal Hulk Prime Marvel interaction is the fact that you can have... Marvel can't carry Hulk, which is bad, because Hulk has Battle Fury. But if you could somehow keep them together... Like, I wish there was a way for Hulk to carry Marvel easily. Because they could shoot Hulk. It goes to Marvel. But then Hulk has line of fire to Marvel, so he would get a vengeance token. So it kind of works out. And you could place Marvel around him when he's being attacked. It's just breaking that line of fire. So we haven't exactly solved Avengers, but I feel like we're a lot closer than we were 2 hours ago, because I feel like going into this, I now know Steve is a requirement. I think he's a requirement. Getting Waldo Arms is just a bonus. A bonus. It's a bonus. So, cool. But I mean, I could test out Prime Marvel, see if that's good. If that's not good, I'd probably test out Sky Tyrant, because you get Waldo Arms from Superior. So Sky Tyrant and Waldo Arms, always a good thing, despite what Lord Archaos says. It's always good. But now that I'm looking at this, I feel like this Invisible Woman is almost a necessity. Unless you're bringing in a Molecule Man, or unless you're bringing in a chip, or you're bringing in something, I almost feel like she's required. Because she gives you so much. Do you guys disagree? Agree? You guys are pretty quiet right now. Now, before I wanted to talk, I still want to talk for a little bit longer, because one thing I do want to talk about. So let's talk about Fantastic Four. So last night, I really discovered, and people, I'm late to the game. I got 4 kids. I work. I'm a little late to the game on some of this team building stuff. But you can fit both swaps on one team. You can't do that on other teams and make it a theme team. But you can make an Avenger theme team and have Fantastic Four. So my thought was, if you went down to 40, which is good, this absolutely may not work out. But you could play... what's the lower point Fantastic Four person? What's her name? It's Invisible Woman, obviously, but is there a 40-point one? I don't honestly remember. Hold on. 60 point. Is 60 point the lowest there is? Let's see. Invisible Woman. Let's see. We had 02. Yeah, 02. That's it. That's the one. Same points as Captain America. That's pretty cool. So you could play her at 40 points to switch into some of these other guys. Because you could go Avengers first. So work with me here. Work with me. There are pieces out there that have Fantastic Four and Avengers. This is where it gets wrapped up a lot. Like it's like big mind games trying to figure out exactly how to do this. So you can start with Avengers because that's where most of your points are invested in the Steve Rogers, the 2 Captain Americas, and the Spider-Man. That's where like all your points are outside of the 50 point. Even your 50-point figure that you're bringing in, you could theoretically switch out. But if you're bringing him in with Steve Rogers, you want to probably play him, right? So you've got Invisible Woman. She could fit in... yeah, this would be tricky on this team. Because, once again, this is the perfect 300-point team. 85, 75. Because you'd gain 35 points here, but that's not enough points. You need 5 more points. Because these two are 160, 200, 300. So you would have to drop down to 45 points if you wanted to fit Fantastic Four, which is fine if you're going chip. If you're going chip, that's A-okay. But not otherwise. So let's see if... Is Fantastic Four even worth it? That's my question. It's been a question that's been brought to me multiple times. Is Fantastic Four actually worth it? I'm not completely sold, but I'm not really ready to ride them off yet. So, out of Fantastic Four, I like Ricky. Ricky Barnes is pretty sweet. If you guys haven't seen Ricky or looked at Ricky, she does some interesting things. Definitely does some interesting things. Her power action in any order: move, make a close attack, make a range attack. And she uses her printed damage. It's not bad. 2 attacks right off the bat. Reed Richards Alpha. A little too difficult to get his Reed Council members. You could be going three games without ever getting one. Or 3 rounds before you could even get one. Even more, actually. Doesn't Black Leopard have both? Yes, he does have both. It's just the prime slot. The prime slot is the tricky part. If I'm not playing Pym or Marvel, sure, I could do Black Leopard. There are a bunch of other pieces though that have both. Just FYI, like for like Wolverines, almost every Wolverine out there has both. Avengers, Fantastic Four. Speaking of Wolverine, that could be one. I could switch to the F4 Wolverine. I could switch to the Mark Wolverine, I think, because he's the one that has Fantastic Four also. Where is he? No, he has Avengers. Or no, he doesn't. He has S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. Yeah, so you couldn't switch to him. But is there any Fantastic Four off the top of your head that you could think of that you're like, yeah, I really want him on a team? Because really, they all just work together. Like, Lockjaw I considered as a taxi, but he only has Fantastic Four, so I'd have to switch a lot of my people over to Fantastic Four. And I don't know if I really have the sideline room to do that. And he would have to leave somebody behind. Spider-Man, Wolverine, none of these. Human Torch, Mad Thinker. Like, none of these are good. Nathaniel Richards? Meh. High Evolutionary is pretty good. But not as like, oh, I'm dying to have a High Evolutionary on my team. That's more of, I'm building Cosmic and I need to fit someone on my team. Not, I want to build around 3 High Evolutionaries. You couldn't even do that with Fantastic Four, so, because you only bring in 1. Got the Thing again. He's got Avengers and Fantastic Four. Maybe this is a sign. There's Black Leopard, like we were talking about. Now, when I was talking to PJ about this, he mentioned Valeria. Valeria might be worth it. She would only give the +2, though, to people she shared a keyword with. It really seems like Chip is better. Chip is good. I want to build a variation with Chip. This is one where I'm going to have to build multiple variations, and I'll try to build out teams and throw them up on my Facebook page. And I'll share this on the Clickstuff page, too. I try to share info on both pages. I just like growing my own live streams when I'm doing something solo. But Chip is good. He gives you the TK. He gives you the ESD. You don't get the barrier. But ESD with that Invisible Woman, the 19 Invisible Woman, so 21's from range, and she has the barrier. That's not bad. I still kind of like Franklin. I feel like Franklin is still pretty good. What do you guys think? Is Franklin still worth it in today's meta? Or does he just take too much damage? You pick 3 powers. Picking powers is pretty sweet. That Thing isn't really worth it. He gives you the 19, but I'm already getting that with the other one, and you won't get the Buzz and Chuck because it's at the beginning of game. So unless he's on your team, you can't switch him in and get Buzz and Chuck. We already knew that, though. Prime Ghost Rider is meh. Gives you a retail, but not worth it for the slot. Wolverine is kind of worth it. Can't die as long as you have another Fantastic Four. You don't think he's worth it? I don't know. Pick of Powers is still pretty strong. He can't be equipped, though, so that's a bummer. Valeria, meh. I mean, she's good, but I mean, like, you probably have her on there to switch out to. Franklin Von Doom is only good if you've got a Mastermind piece, which we don't have any on our team. We don't have any unoutwittable Mastermind, unless you count Ultron Pym. He's got that. But who's really targeting Ultron Pym is my question. Like, I suppose there's a team there. I mean, Gladiator and Franklin Von Doom, which is what Dan has mentioned before, is a hot combo. So, Ultron Pym. You really don't want Ultron Pym up in the fray, though. Because he does just kind of die. But he has Mastermind. I guess that's the point. So, I mean, I suppose, if you could give him any sort of move up ability, like move and attack, he might be worth it. So Franklin could potentially be a switch, but he's 50 points. That's a lot. That is a lot. Is any of the Cosmic... I'm always surprised by some of these Cosmic pieces. Cosmic Clash pieces. That I feel like I keep forgetting they exist. But they don't look like they're any good. Also the deep cuts. I've played against some deep cuts. Like this Doctor Doom at 40. Actually, that looks pretty bad. But giving him the Perplex, the leadership, and the energy explosion isn't bad. Human Torch. That's the one. That's a ticket. This low 20-point Human Torch isn't bad. He's got a stop click. He's got that barrier is free, but you generate one. But you can also knock people back with that marker, which is pretty big. Because you could also knock people forward with the marker. Any of the others good on deep cuts? 20-point thing. 20-point invisible woman. Torso trampoline. I thought that one of the Dooms was 20 points, but I guess I was wrong. So yeah, I don't know if this is worth it. Is Franklin Von Doom worth it? He has what? Does he have TK? Yeah, he's got TK. He's got Prob. He's got Outwit, but only when he's on his terrain marker. But I feel like he's pretty ignorable. And Ultron Pym isn't big enough of a target for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to bring in Ultron Pym and have Ultron Pym carry Franklin around, hoping you would target Ultron Pym. Like, how many of you would go after Ultron Pym? Anybody? Like, he's not that big of a threat to just go after him. And say, yeah, him and Franklin. Buddy cop movie. 150 points, half your build. You'd probably be going after the other 150 points. Yeah. Yeah, Raiden wouldn't. Because you'd probably have a Sue out there. And then whatever your 50 points would be. Whatever the build is. Whatever we figure it out. Because that's 150. That's 250. You have another 50 points. I don't know. Maybe you leave a Steve. Maybe you leave Steve. I don't really know what I would do. I just don't know if this is enough. Because Ultron Pym just isn't as spooky. He could create people. That's cool. He could create little Pym things. Now, if only Uatu had Fantastic Four, then we'd be really rolling dice. Oh, that's right. You couldn't even do... That's right. You couldn't even do that. It would have to be Chip. I forgot about that. So you would have Chip. You would have to play Invisible Woman because she is an Invisible Woman. So if you were playing... Or no, you couldn't even switch. You could switch to her. I don't know if you would. Well, we talked about that 21 defense from range is pretty good. So 35, 50, so 235. Yeah, that's tough. You'd have about 50 points to work with still. A 50-point Avenger, so that could be the free attack cap. Is there any other good of 50-point Avengers that I missed? Blade. You do Blade. Oh. Crack myself up. 50 points. You got the 50-point Sentry. Don't say Black Leopard. Don't bring it up again. 50-point Thor? Bah. Medusa? You know, with Chip carrying stuff up, Medusa isn't actually a terrible play. Because you could pop out a hair, bring him up, and get 2 attacks off with the hair. So Medusa's actually not terrible in that instance. It's getting later. You guys must be sleepy because nobody's saying much out there. So what do you guys think so far? We had our first combo. which is really the Prime Marvel. It was not him. It was with War Machine. I don't know where did War Machine go? You guys can't even see it. Where did War Machine go? Probably behind somebody. We had our first combo, which was really Sue, or Invisible Woman, Prime Marvel, Thor, him, and then War Machine. There he is. War Machine. What about Daredevil? 25-point Daredevil? He would give me a prop, but I kind of like the enhancement a little bit more. Because Thor has prop at his 75-point click. Yeah, he has prop, so I don't really need another one. If you're suggesting instead of this guy, because I had 5 points to mess with, but I could bring him in instead. I just like the enhancement. Having the enhancement for 3 attackers seems pretty nice. Seems pretty nice. Well, I didn't really expect Avengers to be solved in a night. There's a lot that has to go into them because unlike X-Men and whatnot, there's so many more potential, like, what's the word? Not potentialities, that's a made-up word. A lot of potential, just potential. A lot of different things you can mess with. Because you could add in Fantastic Four, you could add in Steve. Steve really changes things up. Whereas X-Men's like, hey, what's all my X-Men, Shi'ar, and Illuminati people? Let's build out of those 3. This is more, you've got Avengers, you've got anybody 50 or below, that's standard. Or you got Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four might bring enough to the table. But I think I'm going to stick with Avengers building for the immediate future. Because we do kind of have our 75-point 75-point Captain America, 40-point Captain America, a Steve, and then whatever 50-point I want to bring in. So we could start with Prime Marvel. We could switch that up for Sky Tyrant. Like if I was building these, like trying to choose my order of how I wanted to build these, I would probably start building with Prime Marvel. I would probably switch to Sky Tyrant because we do get the free Waldo arms. I would then switch for probably Demon and Armor. No, probably Chip. Probably Chip. He gives us the TK, the ESD, and all of that. But my biggest surprise coming out of tonight is definitely Invisible Woman from Empire. The Empire minigame, Invisible Woman. Definitely much better than I thought she was. 19 defend, TK, barrier, stealth. 50 points, but for a team that is lacking all of those things, I'll pay 50 points for it. So that's probably going to wrap it up for tonight. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about or any questions? I am going to stream, I believe, tomorrow. I said I was going to stream tomorrow at 7 also to do a Fringe pieces. So I was going to post a poll and I couldn't do it on my own page for some reason. So I might do it on the Clickstuff page to talk about. We're going to pick one Fringe piece. It's not going to be as convoluted as this, but a Fringe piece that we're going to try to build with. Some of the ones I'm thinking of is Title Reed, Title Susan, this Captain America. I'm going to post a poll about it and we're going to choose one. This Captain America, the Legacy one. Maybe even Ricky Barnes. She's a little too new. So I'm trying to stay away from pieces that are just too new. But I'm looking for pieces that you're like, man, this person does something really neat. But it's just not quite there. that's how I feel about a lot of the title characters. But like Title Susan, doing the water, Susan, Queen of Atlantis, she's got potential. I did build with her a little bit. Title Reed has a lot of potential. Captain America has a lot of potential. But I'll post a poll for our first one, and we'll do a live stream tomorrow, and I'll see if I can get somebody to come join me, maybe a Clickstaff member or somebody to come team build with me and see if we could do... I would love to do it on Fridays, so I could say Fringe Fridays, but because I'm really big about alliteration and cool names. But Team Up Thursdays sound pretty cool, too. So... once again, if you're not following me on the Twitch channel, do so. Also like my Facebook page, Kuzinator, that'd be great. So that way you can stay in touch, because I am trying to get Rare back into it now that the holidays are over, now that a lot of packing is over. Once I'll get into the new house, which will hopefully be this month, I'll be doing hopefully a lot more streaming in my new office studio type place. So if you guys don't have any questions, I really, really appreciate you guys watching, sticking with me for today. And if you're watching on YouTube later, feel free to write in your comments, because I will post this to my YouTube, which is right here, right above me, right here. So I'll see hopefully some of you guys tomorrow, and be sure to answer the poll. I'll post it up tonight with choose one of those people that I can do a Fringe live stream team build for. So see you guys.